Hey guys, welcome to the final training for this series for Monetization May. This is training 9 and it's the final marketing training, and we're going to be talking about some strategy-based stuff today, which you're probably thinking, oh my gosh, finally, because I've been harping on about mindset for most of this. So let's get straight into it. So today I'm going to be chatting to you about how to market without a budget, and I'm sure that if this has been something that you felt has been holding you back, you're going to be so into this training because you're going to be like, freaking yes, I need to know. So I'm gonna go straight into it. I'm not really gonna waste a lot of time today. So the first thing that I want to bring to your attention that you can do if you don't have a marketing budget is that you can network with people. This is the first one. And you might be thinking, okay, but how does that lead to sales, right? So there's a couple of different things that we can look at here. First of all, if you're starting out in authorship and you're trying to go for your first book launch, or you're trying to bring attention to a book that's been out for a while, networking can be a great way to do it because networking opens up doors for awareness and visibility, right? Ultimately, you're looking to get exposure on the book. You're looking to get eyeballs on the book. And the way that you do that, if you don't already have readers in your audience that are engaged, or you don't have the right people in your audience, or you're really struggling to get traffic to your audience, then what you need to do is go out there outside of your bubble and find audiences that are engaged and find audiences that need to know about your book. And so by networking, this is going to be really helpful because it opens up doors for you to do guest posts and to do interviews and to collaborate with people. And all of that is going to help you to bring awareness of your book to other people's audiences and then drive that traffic back, right? And so, for example, like if you were to partner with an author, right, and maybe it's a similar author and they have a similar book to yours, so it's kind of a perfect fit. If they already have an engaged audience that are buying their book, and that audience is looking for more of that kind of book because it's one of their favorite reads, and then you come along and say, hey, I have a book like this and I would love for you to go read it, and you can come hang out on my platform as well, and together me and such are going to talk to you about this. And it's kind of like this great opportunity because one, they're hearing about you, right? But then two, there's instantly going to be a trust connection there because that audience already trusts that author. And if that author is recommending you, if that author is letting you be in their presence or doing something with you, that's instantly going to make their audience trust you because like they already trust them. So for them to make a direct recommendation, it's just like if they trust them, they trust you. It's kind of like that saying where you say any friend of someone is a friend of mine just because of association, right? And so that is the first one, is networking, and that's going to be a great thing to do if you're just starting out or if you're trying to get awareness of the book. Right? Okay, that's number one. Number two is content and social media. And you probably knew I was going to say that. And the thing about this one is that this one helps you to connect with your audience, and it also helps with visibility. So if you are an unknown author and people don't know about you, your first order of business is to get visible and get known. You need to be able to build a brand for yourself. You need to be able to get people to come back to your audience and discover you. You need people to hear about you in your book. So visibility is really key, and social media is a great way to get visible because you posting and being consistent with it and reaching the right audiences with it is how you're going to start to build a following and how you're going to start to get seen by people, right? So that's the first part of it. But then the second part is content, right? You need to be putting out the right content that's going to engage people, because if you don't do that, then you're not building know, like, and trust factor. I'm pretty sure I would have mentioned this, but if I haven't talked about know, like, trust factor, and you don't know what it is, know, like, trust factor is a piece of like sales psychology. Basically, people need to know, like, and trust you before they can buy from you. And I've got a great podcast episode on this actually, where I actually explained why this is. I'll link it below. I won't try to think of the name, but basically, like, to give you an example, like you'll hear in this episode, the reason that your friends and family are buying your book and why strangers are not is because your friends and family already know, like, trust you. Right? That's a perfect example. They already know, like, trust you. And what you really need to do is be able to replicate that on a much larger scale, and not an as intimate scale, right? So that is what's going to help you to drive more book sales, is know, like, trust factor. And so when you create content and it's the right kind of content and it speaks to ideal readers, you have stuff that resonates with people, you have stuff that connects with people, you have stuff that engages people, that is going to help to build know, like, trust factor. And through that, you're going to be able to make book sales because it's all leading to the sale, right? And so content is a really big piece of it. It is actually such a big piece of it that it is a whole separate training in my launch course, right? And I'm not the only one who agrees on content marketing being the thing for authors. I know I'm not, but it's definitely one of my strongest beliefs because it's just such an easy way to kind of market yourself and get out there and like connect with people. But also, when I first started in authorship, I knew that I didn't want to chase people. I didn't want to chase readership. I didn't want to feel like I had to individually sell myself to every person, right? And I remember walking through the mall. I say the mall, we call it a shopping center here. And I was looking at stores, just stores I was passing. Like I was looking at Lush, and I was looking at Dusk, and I was looking at The Body Shop, right? And I was just looking at those stores and going, how do they get people to walk in the door? How do they get people to just know of their store and just buy from them without having to directly sell to them? Like, even if they were to go online, they would buy from their website without actually speaking to a sales representative. And I'm like, how do they do that? How do they get people to know about their products? How do they get people to just know of their brand, right? That is attraction marketing. And that is what I figured out I wanted to do with my books, because I didn't want to directly try to sell to people. I wanted to do it on a much larger scale, and I just wanted to naturally attract ideal readers to my brand the way that people seemingly find their favorite authors and are naturally gravitating towards their brands, right? That is what content marketing helps you do, because content marketing is how you build the pieces to make that be really effective. And so content marketing is a really key one. And the reason I use that interchangeably with social media is because social media is a form of content marketing. It's not the only form of content marketing, but it's helpful because social media, if you've watched this series, you'll know why social media is so important, because I did a whole video on it. But it's one of the key things that's going to help you in your marketing strategy. So if you can integrate that with content marketing, or you can kind of like repurpose that into content marketing, that's going to be really helpful for you. So that's the second piece there. And then the final piece is having a sales process. And so I've mentioned this a few times throughout this series, but basically it's really, really important, because if you don't have a sales process, then like I said in one of my other trainings, you kind of have all these pieces of marketing and you don't really know how they fit together. And that's where it gets really complicated. And I am actually working on a marketing course at the moment, and I say this in the marketing course, but basically the reason that I think authors find marketing so confusing and so overwhelming is because you hear all these different things like, oh, you need to have a newsletter and you need to have an email list and you need to run ads, right? The thing is that you don't need to do anything. Those are just ways of getting the result that you're after. And so what you really need is to know what result you're after. And if you're kind of just throwing stuff at the wall, hoping it's going to work, and you're not leading people through a sales process so that it's actually making sense what you're doing, then yeah, you're kind of just trying all these different things hoping they work. And then when they don't work, you're like, well, what am I doing wrong, right? And like, the other thing about it is that marketing is different to publicity, and publicity is different to sales. And they tend to be talked about interchangeably because they all lead towards generating income. And so understanding the difference between those three is really helpful, because marketing is about bringing awareness to something. Publicity is about like building connections and kind of putting exposure on something. And it's largely from someone else bringing attention to it, from someone else advocating from it, someone else talking about it, not you, right? And then finally, sales is about actually closing sales with people. And that can be done through networking with bookstores so that you have more opportunities to sell to people, or it could be through you directly selling to people through email marketing or your social media posts or running ads, right? So those are just some examples there. But the thing is that when it comes to you building out a sales process, you need to understand how the pieces kind of work together. You need to understand what you need to be doing at each stage so that it's leading people towards a sale, because like I said, there's all these different components that come into play, and there's different times to be doing different things. Something that you'll know if you've been through my launch course is that what I teach you in the launch course is essentially just a giant sales process. I'm teaching you how to combine your publishing steps into a launch strategy so that you're guiding people through a sales process so that by the end of your launch, people are warmed up to purchase from you. That is it. That is how important sales processes are. They're also very simple. And once you know what it is and how to put one together, it becomes very easy. But sales processes are going to make this so much easier for you to market your books, because once you have one, you basically just work it on repeat. And it's really, really simple. So obviously there are different parts of the sales process that you want to know about, that you want to learn about, that you want to get really good at doing. And I teach a large part of that in my marketing course, but until that's ready, you can also just work with me in an intensive, and we'll also work through those pieces together. And it's probably the better way to do it because you get that personalized aspect and that personalized feedback. But just know that there is a marketing course coming, and that'll be announced at some point. But basically, this is great because it drives direct traffic, right? And like I said, it leads to the sale. So if you're trying to figure out, okay, how do I get people to discover my books? How do I build no like trust factor with them? And how do I actually close the sale with them? That is the sales process. That's what you're trying to move people through. And by knowing what to do at every stage, you're going to be able to do that with your readers. And then you're going to be able to automate your marketing, because once you know what to do, if you can do it manually, you can also automate it. You can also build an email sales funnel, right? And lead people through that while you're sleeping, and it can just work for you. Or you can run an ad campaign, or you can do like tons of other things, right? That it's just going to help you to sell more books. And when you're trying to scale, when you're trying to monetize your brand and get to a point where you've got sustainable income coming in, and maybe it's not just happening every time you launch a book, but it's happening every month, year round, this is how you're going to be able to do it. When you figure out how to launch, and then you get good at doing the sales process, and then you're able to like use the sales process to market your backlist and to market all the other things you've got going on. You can kind of stack that up until you've just got all these income streams working for you, and they're bringing in book royalties all the time. And that's what's going to really help you, right? To scale, to have income, to be able to do more things with your author brand, to reach more readers, to run more ads, to pay for more stuff. It's all going to be really helpful for you. But that's how you're going to be able to do it. And so if you're looking at how do I do this without a budget, the first thing you want to do is learn how to make a sales process. You want to learn how to do that. You want to like work it on repeat till you figure out that it's working and it's converting and everything that you're doing is being done right. And then you can just repeat it, and you can just keep replicating it. You can keep scaling it. It's going to be really good for you. So that is all I have to say today. That is like just some things you can be doing if you don't have a budget. All things you can be doing organically, and of course you can then enhance through paid marketing. And I know that, I think it was in another training, I talked about how you can smartly use paid marketing as well, because I wanted to explain like the difference between using social media organically and then doing the paid marketing thing. So if you're curious, go check out that one. But apart from that, that is all I had to say. I hope you enjoyed this whole series. I hope you got a lot out of it. I hope that you had some takeaways, and if you did, I'd love it if you shared those with me. And I'd also love it if you reach out to me if you need more help, and ask about how we could work together, because I am so ready to support you and help you, and hopefully you have a better understanding of where you need help now, especially if you've gone through all these trainings and you've kind of realized, okay, here's what I'm doing well, here's where I'm kind of not doing well, here's what I could really use some support with. I encourage you to go ahead and get that support. Don't sit on it. Don't think, yeah, I'm going to figure this out on my own for another 2 years. Because in that 2 years, you can already have another book out. You can already be earning more income. You can already be further along on your author journey. And if that's going to earn you a return on investment faster, why wouldn't you do it, right? And so that is all I had to say. Hopefully you're having a great day, and I will chat to you guys in the next free training thing I do, or in the next live stream, or whatever I do in this group next. So I'll chat to you guys there. And then bye.